that reason because, you know, it feels like a totally divorced identity from previous FlyQuest. And I think that's why, you know, a lot of people are still kind of calling them FlyQuest Academy. Some people are like, oh, that's disrespectful to them. But it mostly stems from the idea that this is a totally different lineup, totally different team. And that's why you want some way of differentiating them because it's a totally different group of guys. Even the Academy coach is up with them. It's not even the same staff. And that's why I think we need a new name. I'm calling them FlyQuest 2.0.
I mean, it's the ship of Theseus argument, right? How many parts of the ship can you replace before it's a totally different ship? Well, they didn't even replace them part by part. They just threw out the old ship and brought in a new ship.
Yeah, they just like, whoop, instantly you're in a new ship. It's like, yeah, it probably has a different name. So that's why new FlyQuest 2.0, if people don't like the Academy tag on the end of it, then I'll call them whatever you want. But this is a new squad to me that's 4-0 in the LCS.
Well, let's see how they can do against the Geniuses. Bans are already almost done here in the first half with Thresh, Gwen, and Irelia banned away by FlyQuest, as you have Evil Geniuses banning out the Xin Zhao, Viego, and Callista.
I like those bans out of EG. The Viego feels like a really important part of FlyQuest's identity. They can play in all three parts of the top side. Callista as well as an early game option. We haven't seen it out of Tomo yet, but basically everyone plays it. So targeting a lot of these kind of skirmishy champions, but there's so many in the current meta. Looks like FlyQuest aiming for Lee Sin first pick. And again, another one of these champions that feels like it goes anywhere for their team.
Right, he's so flexible, he can do so much. He works in a lot of different compositions. It never really feels like you have a comp where you're like, Lee Sin?
Yeah, I don't think you're ever unhappy. And even like the counter picks into him are not really hard counters. He's such a safe blind pick. I think that's one of the reasons you see it so much. So good there for FlyQuest. On the EG side, we talked about Diana, the importance of her in the meta, not just on a raw power level, but what she enables in team comps in terms of being an AP threat in the jungle.
The champion's very, very effective, and especially with, like, I had this conversation the other day about how Xin Zhao and Diana for a while it felt like that S tier, and Xin just gets banned all the time. So Diana's the one that we're just always seeing come through as that top level pick, as that priority that's not going through a draft without getting picked or picked.
Yeah, it's an interesting argument for why Xin Zhao, obviously we talk about raw power levels, Xin Zhao higher, also enables some team comps that are more specific in terms of like supportive mids with Xin and these kinds of things that you see people doing.
Or something.
Yeah, exactly. So not a surprise to see it banned out instead of the Diana and taken away there by EG.
Okay. Yeah, we're talking about champions that are staples. We're talking about stuff you see in every draft. Well, welcome to the Lizard.
I mean, that's like the half draft these days is the first couple picks are all like flex, solo lanes, or jungler, and like maybe if you're really crazy like Golden Guardians, you'll start taking your bot lane early.
Just start doing something wild. Well, I hope we get some more of that wildness here in this draft, as we do have the LeBlanc locked in for the side of FlyQuest. So a little bit of playmaking there. Lee Sin and LeBlanc, we know how deadly this is as a mid-jungle 2v2. Of course, we still don't know where the Lee Sin is going. He still might be going top, but there's a lot of pop-off potential for roaming around as a two-man squad.
Yeah, and it's I like the LeBlanc. It's been a very good champion for triple thus far in the LCS. It's a little surprising to see that comboed with the Tristana at the same time because you kind of kill the flexibility of the Tristana. Yes, it could still go top. Yes, the Lee Sin could still go jungle. But that's probably a bot lane Tristana now that you already know the LeBlanc has to go mid lane.
And over on Evil Geniuses, we are going to get Jizuke on a Jizuke champion. The Rise locked in.
Yeah, I like this answer for EG. Something that can lock the LeBlanc down when she pops in. You can also contest 1-3-1 in side lane. You don't feel uncomfortable in the side lane as Rise. Really nice answer out of EG. And this is an interesting part of the draft because it's possible that EG would have banned that in the LeBlanc in the second phase of bans if you didn't take it away there. But because you're blue side, if you do take that LeBlanc, it gives EG time to counter here already. And so I like this answer for EG.
And EG will, however, lose one of their AD carries' favorite picks. As FlyQuest, they know that their opponents still have to pick both bottom lane players. They know that Danny likes Samira, and they know that they don't. So that's banned out, with Gnar and Nautilus being the bans here from EG.
Yep, also the Tristana, another favorite for Danny. He had a great game on it last weekend where the rest of the team just kind of skirmished. You saw Azale breaking that game down, and you know, kind of on the bot side with one kill participation was Danny picking up turret play after turret play, and then at 20 minutes when he's 2.5 items already, he just starts bopping people in the face. So he is quietly become a huge threat for EG over the course of the split and has turned the rookie of the split race into a Blaze Olive.
It's very close. Yeah, it's very fun to see that contest between those two, as we will have a second AD carry ban coming through here for FlyQuest in the second half of the ban. Xayah banned away. Evil Geniuses
Well,
going for here? Kaisa locked in for Danny.
I was ready for the Danny special 2.0 with the Syndra, but given that was the one loss that they've had in their last, I don't know, was it 9 games, 10 games?
A while. It's been a while.
It's been a while since they lost, and Syndra was a part of it. So staying away from that one for Danny into something a little safer in the Kaisa. Or, well, I guess safer is a speculative term. Kaisa is a little risky.
She's also a great accompaniment to a dive comp, right? This is an AD carry that can dive in with champions like Diana and like Renekton to just create this death ball that you've got to be very respectful of on the side of FlyQuest. FlyQuest going to go ahead, grab themselves Leona here, a champion that can pair very well with Kaisa as well, so denying that from their opponents, getting it on their side for some powerful engage. What's that last one going to be? Could they lock this in? They will. Okay, so 2 big, heavy engaged meatballs to round out the draft. How are we feeling about this, Mark?
This is interesting because we saw the Ornn counter pick into the Renekton earlier in the day from 100 Thieves on red side, and it didn't work out great in the lane phase. They were actually down quite a bit. Dives were being threatened the entire time, and they were able to stabilize, but it is kind of a situation where I'm curious to see if that happens again for FlyQuest, or if that was just something specific to that game that put the Ornn so far behind, because both times the Ornn was picked into the Renekton.
And hey, I really like how Evil Geniuses is finishing the draft here. I mentioned how they have one of the few AD carries that can accompany a dive very well, and there's not much better backup for a dive than a Galio ulti on top of your main initiator. So I'm liking this here. Svenskeren will be the one to try to jump in, get that ulti onto multiple people, and then you've got follow-up from Impact, from Danny, from Ignar, and it's all just set up to deathball at FlyQuest.
It's a really great dive comp, like you're saying, for EG, plus a good lane. Kaisa plus Galio, you just kind of press your Qs together, nuke the wave, kind of move away from it so you don't have to sit there hitting the minions, and that's where Kaisa can sometimes get in trouble as a little bit lower range carry.
So who do we feel won the draft here, Mr. Zimmerman?
I mean, like, I want to say EG just because the 100 Thieves, Renekton, Ornn matchup left such a bad taste in my mouth last time.
Okay, so we're not convinced by the Ornn into Renekton just yet.
Not yet. Okay. I know it is something that people have played, and not just in North America, the Ornn into Renekton, but it did not look super convincing this time around, so we'll have to see what it does. And it does have scaling options, so it's not like it needs to win the lane. I'm not saying you have to dominate. You just have to outscale the team, and, you know, Tristana's a decent carry in the late game. LeBlanc can be super annoying in late game, which is popping over and 80% in your health bar.
And a reminder to everybody out there, because we haven't seen as much play of Ornn since the item rework that happened back at the beginning of the year, things are different now with how he handles those items, right? He can only enchant mythics, which means every champion on his team, including himself, only gets 1. And there's no more of those outliers. I always thought the stupidest part about Ornn was how Abyssal Mask and Sunfire are worth twice as much in gold value as every other upgrade. It's not the case anymore. Every upgrade's worth about 1,000 gold.
Yeah, I like my build path to be a single path with no branches.
It's just a tree trunk.
Yeah.
Build tree trunk. Well, let's see how it'll shake out for the Ornn here in this top lane. Kumo running the grasp to deal with that Renekton early on, just have a little bit of extra sustain. Looking through everybody else, things are par for the course. Going up against a Leona, of course, Danny will be taking the cleanse to get away from some of that powerful CC, so he'll have that tool throughout our game here. And yeah, teleports are matched from solo laners on both sides, and is a difference here. Ignite for Diamond in the bottom lane versus the Exhaust of Ignar, really respecting what the LeBlanc and the Lee Sin might be able to do later on in this game. And a reminder to everybody here, the 2 men on your screen going head-to-head in the mid lane on this one. Triples LeBlanc versus Jizuke's Rise. That is your free Pro View matchup. So if you're looking to learn a little bit more about mid lane, go check that one out.
The most talked about Pro View in the world, Jizuke.
Hell yeah. We have seen so many vouches online of how Jizuke's Pro View is just top tier content that you cannot miss out on. So if you're not a believer yet, go give it a look. As Impact is giving a look towards this starting point of FlyQuest, who look to be giving NXI a leash here with their blue buff.
Yep, gonna spot out the starting position. Bot lane for FlyQuest, given that they're already in lane. We'll also know that EG is starting on the bot side, so junglers on opposite sides of the map, but both teams aware of that. We'll see if anyone goes for any tricky clears to offset the kind of apparent path for both of them to start out.
Okay, well, up here in this top lane, Kumo will probably just get beat up a little bit early on as the Renekton, and then the goal is just to scale forward, become tanky enough to where you don't have to worry about that burst as much. Back here in mid, again, we know that Jizuke is on one of those champions where he can define a game with it. But at the same time, he is also on a champion that can be very vulnerable if ganked, if targeted, if focused. So I want to see if FlyQuest have a lot of attention paid by NXI here to the mid lane.
Yeah, already the emotes coming down through both of them. Jizuke laying down the gauntlet. He's one of the most aggressive laners in the LCS right now. And for Triple to come in, have a pretty great weekend, all things considered, getting solo kills on perks and winning a lot of his matchups. You know, this is a great skill check for him to go up against, at least in lane, you could argue the best mid laner in the LCS.
All righty, let's see it. But down in the bottom lane, I also want to point out that FlyQuest has nice early control over the wave. You talked a little bit about the Kai'Sa and Galio wave clear of just double tap the Qs, make sure you clear out all the minions. But remember that Tristana also having that explosive shot allows them to push out very early, very effectively, and control things down here.
Yeah, that's a little bit usually later on in the lane phase when you get a couple points into those abilities. And especially given that the fact they leashed for Sven Skaren, the bot lane for EG is just totally cool, sitting down underneath the turret, collecting farm. NXI is clearing down there, so they really don't want to push the wave at all right now and just going to focus on last hitting and staying safe.
So, Mark, where would you like to see both of these junglers put their focus towards here in this game to get off to a good start? Triple's going in, looking for a little bit of a scrap in the mid lane. Down here in bot side, though, it's Diamond looking for the kill onto Ignar. The bomb is on his head. One more auto attack, I think, would have been enough to add enough extra damage to kill him there, but they will not get it. Evil Geniuses keeps their support alive.
Yeah, do lose the flash. It looks like the dive is coming down because we talked about NXI pathing to the bot side. He's wrapping around behind the turret.
Danny also has no heal for this. Remember, the Kai'Sa has cleanse. Diamond is stuck underneath the turret. They're still looking to make the play. It's first blood over to Tomo. NXI trying to get all the way out of there. He will not die. It's a 1-for-1.
Yeah, we saw a TP coming in there. Looks like it got canceled by Kumo. I wonder if he put himself in a bit of a rough spot to cancel that.
Yep, it looks that way. At about 300 HP up here, he's not feeling too great. And Jizuke has arrived for the dive.
Yeah, this is a nice answer by EG. You know the jungler's down the bot side, and Kumo just chunked himself out. So Jizuke, even though he doesn't kill him here, is going to kind of scare him off the turret. If Kumo walks back here, EG might cancel some of these recalls.
No, it looks like they're not willing to risk it. You can see Jizuke's not happy about this. He wanted the kill. He wanted to PvP.
Nice cover by Diamond, too, to kind of read that flip side play coming in for EG. And so here we'll see the replay. He knows that this TP is coming in, and a really nice cancel there. Didn't have to use the pillar. Kind of knew enough of the radius to cover that, get the interrupt. And it set up a bit of a risky situation. Is a little bit lower on CS4, but does have the TP advantage now. So definitely a win for FlyQuest, given that they came out ahead of Summoners and 1-for-1 in the kills and got the first blood. Yeah,
losing 4 or 5 minions to that or whatever, I feel like is more than a fair price for stopping that teleport from turning around another kill in the bottom lane. So Evil Geniuses, not too happy about that getting canceled, but things are still going all right for them. Danny is a little bit behind in terms of farm because of the state of the lane here so far. Back here in mid, Triple will use his teleport getting back into lane, so Jizuke's will be about a minute ahead of his in terms of the cooldown.
Yeah, had the initial back as soon as he got tier. I mean, it's pretty common to instant recall as soon as you get the gold for that, finish that item off, and then that's when he started moving around the map. And in a decent spot. I think what's most interesting to me, you were asking about where people are going to attack. For EG, it's actually kind of topside. You want to get up there and use your global pressure of the Rise, especially post-6. You get dives onto Kumo and finish him off. For FlyQuest, what's really nice about how they've drafted is LeBlanc and the Lee Sin actually want to go mid more than bot lane. I think they just saw the opportunity after the nice trade bot lane. But in general, I think they're going to focus mid. Because if you kill Jizuke, you stop that global roaming threat from coming in. And so that's why I think it's really important for FlyQuest to find some opportunities to stop Jizuke from getting unlocked like this.
Okay, so we've got a level 4 Lee Sin here, as it looked like we might have had a 2v2 between mids and jungles. Level 4 Lee Sin against a level 6 Rise, level 5 Diana. I'm not too confident in that one, not too happy about it, but if we're talking about happy, Kumo is not, as Jizuke makes his rotation up into the top side. He and Svenskeren go through the Realm Warp, and it sets him up.
This is exactly what we were just talking about. You want for EG to unlock the mid laner, roam up there, and get that kill. Exactly how you drew it up. Now it is a monster CS lead. The wave seemed like it was frozen, not in a great spot, which is why Kumo was so easy to collapse on, that they could actually TP in front of the turret and still be behind Kumo. It's pretty insane how far forward he was, and an easy kill there for them. And the TP was down. Kumo's going to have to walk back to lane, lose all these minions. He is in a disaster situation.
He is hemorrhaging farm. 27 versus 56. As FlyQuest will at least be able to grab themselves a Drake. Doesn't look like Evil Geniuses will be moving to contest this in any way. But man, things are rough up there in the top side. The silver lining is, hey, you're a tank, so at least you'll be able to scale forward. You'll have utility in the team fights. You don't have to have a lead to be relevant as if you were a carry. But it's still going to be tough times up there, Mark.
It's tough times for a couple of reasons. One, like you already highlighted, just being down gold sucks. For Kumo, yes, you're playing a tank, but Kumo's been great on brawlers and fighters and champions with playmaking potential. I'm a little sad to see him without that here, given that he feels like such an important part of FlyQuest 2.0 and their 4-0 record. The one thing that I'll say, and I might have to interrupt here to see if Kumo ends up in trouble, but he's respecting the pressure, while the flip side play is going for FlyQuest on the bot side.
Yep, FlyQuest are setting it up here. Two-man taunt comes out from Ignar. As Tomo's the one with turret aggro, they have to back away. Evil Geniuses fighting this off beautifully.
Yeah, really nice play there by Ignar. If you're getting dove, one of the things you can do is, of course, try and outplay the opponent once they start their CC chain. But oftentimes, it's better to interrupt it yourself, get the taunt, and because you're Galio, if you do that, they hit you, turret aggro's onto them, and they were able to get that onto Tomo, which forced the dives to stop.
One of the unique strengths of taunt compared to something that's just a stun or a root or a snare, you guarantee somebody's about to have a bad time with that turret aggro. The somebody ended up being Tomo, so there was no damage. NXI still only level 5 on the Lee Sin, so they didn't even have kick or anything to guarantee some extra burst.
Yeah, it feels really bad for him now, falling behind in CS and especially XP on the Lee Sin. You need your ult for that. As we see, did we miss a solo kill in the mid lane potentially?
Well, we're taking a look at... Nope, never mind. We're good. Everything's cool. Everything's cool.
Everyone relax.
Yep, everybody's chilling.
Oh,
everybody's chilling. Okay, here's another replay of what happened to Kumo in the top lane. Surprise!
You're dead. Didn't even bother flashing. I guess that's maybe the silver lining you can take from it, is that you'll have it to outplay a potential second dive from coming in. As we see, Rift Herald started here for FlyQuest.
Now, FlyQuest have the first Drake so far. That is the only objective taken in this game. They really want to grab this Rift Herald, and they already got it, but here comes your Orn horn sounding off. Ignar's thrown up into the air. Svenskeren will be the first one to die. Impact in the front line, doing a massive amount of damage here to everybody, with Kumo going to be the next one to fall to Jizuke. NXI trying to escape, runs back through that tri-brush, gets away to the tier 1 turret. Evil Geniuses trade 1 for 1, but it's FlyQuest who take the Herald.
Yeah, really risky fight there. Both teams collapsing to go all in on that one. Kumo, unfortunately, drops 4, but I think for FlyQuest, you're okay. The 1 for 1, like you said, you did end up getting the Rift Herald and getting out on NXI. He can now use that to jumpstart him a little bit more back into the game after falling a little bit behind with the unsuccessful plays. He also, I think, picked up that kill there. So, I mean, in a good spot.
Being honest right now, Mark, the state of the game is pretty worrying, particularly around this top side here for FlyQuest. 2,000 gold down at 9.5 minutes with only 1 kill disparity is a lot.
It is not good. And like I said, especially for Kumo, given how important he feels for the team. But here's the interesting thing about FlyQuest Academy. You talk about them being an LPL light team. You heard that kind of thrown around a lot for this team. And they do play that way, but they're actually 9th in gold differential if you just take the 4 games that they played. I should clarify that this is from last weekend. It's only the 3 games that they played, but they also fell behind the TSM game as well. So they would be 9th as a team in gold differential at 15. They're not great laners. They don't dominate you in lane. What they're amazing at is team fighting. They're actually the highest in the league at combined kills per minute as I watch Tomo die.
Tomo flashing away to stay alive. Svenskeren is able to finish that kill off. NXI wants to trade something here, but NXI now is about to give over another if he's not careful. He will pick up the Svenskeren kill. Jizuke and Ignar now running away. NXI chases after him there with a resonating strike, but backup will not arrive in time to kill any more EG players.
And that's what FlyQuest does well. They scrap you out. They're down to fight. That's why everyone was hyped about this game. They're 2 of the most aggressive teams in the league. NXI gets the trade kill after Tomo was able to kite it out. Nice Iron Spike whip, finishing that kill off because his ult was still on cooldown. And now they're going to combo that into a Rift Herald push here to try and get some gold on triple. Maybe the most important single member to get gold onto, because he has that side lane threat if he starts getting fed.
Right, and they need to have LeBlanc able to burst somebody out of these fights, right? That's how you can make up for this early gold deficit, pop somebody so that they're really not able to contribute very much and make it feel more even.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the final point that I was going to get to with all that gold information, was that FlyQuest, where they're strong is actually mid to late game. Early games, they can fall behind, but they're going to be great about taking team fights. They're so good about being on the same page and punishing you as soon as they see an opportunity. Number 1 in the league in combined kills per minute right now, and that's why you can't ever count them out. So this Kumo thing that we're talking about, it looks like a disaster. You hate to see it for Orn, but for FlyQuest fans, you can actually say, I'm not too worried yet. The only problem is you're playing EG, who is also one of the most aggressive teams and will take any fight they can see.
Right. This is the EG that we were talking about earlier, who lost 1 game in the past 9 or 10. This is a team that very much is coordinated in their own right and knows how to play those team fights and knows how to work together. So I think this game is only going to get more exciting as we move forward and get out of these lanes. 12 minutes in now, that's going to be coming sooner than later.
Yeah, and this is more of a comfort for EG. We talked about some of the changes that they made in their draft yesterday with the Syndra bottom and some of that stuff. Here it's pretty much comfort across the board. A lot of their signature picks locked in.
And you can see actually no turret plates have been taken in either one of the solo lanes from an EG turret. FlyQuest have not been able to apply any pressure to either one of those. Let's see if Impact can find anything to do here. A nice jump over that Raptor Pit wall from Tomo means he is safe. Triple wants to get the chain route, gets it, but there's no way to follow that up.
Yeah, and I think they're going to sack this dragon, the right call here. Let Kumo get some farm up on the top side. It's only the Cloud Dragon, and FlyQuest realistically, with this, we would say, scaling advantage with the Ornn and stuff, you're not trying to actually stack dragons aggressively right now. So even though they grabbed the first one, that was more about the fact that your bot lane had pressure than your actual game plan of snowballing dragons. So you're totally fine to give this one up, get Kumo back in the game. Like you said, gets a turret plate as well as a bunch of CS.
Ocean Soul on the table here. Such a scary proposition for either one of these compositions, but nobody's even close to it yet. You already pointed it out. It's 1-1 on those, so even if either team gets the next 3 in a row, you're still not looking at Soul coming online until around about 28, 29 minutes or so.
Right, and at that point, you know, if the game is still even and it's an even fight there, I think you're favoring FlyQuest comp a little bit. Both teams do have a lot of tools, though. EG's comp, pretty much a dive comp. You have Impact and Sven scaring one to jump on the back line, followed up ideally with Danny and Ignar ulting on top. For FlyQuest, it's a little bit more subtle how you play the game. I don't think you just want to try and dive through all the front line for EG because it's still pretty respectable with Ignar and Impact.
Impact doing a lot of work on this tier 1 turret, just allowing it to execute as many minions as possible, deprive Kumo from as much of that farm as he can. You can see that the plating is going to fall in about 25 more seconds, so Impact will knock this one over, pick up everything. He'll clear the wave, so it's not like it's going to freeze in front of his opponent either. Well done.
Yep, really important to let all those minions die, so when Kumo starts collecting the farm that goes past the turret, it ends up going back to you after you finish recalling. We'll see what the lane assignments break out for EG here if they want to keep putting Renekton in the top side. Does have TP, but it doesn't feel like there's going to be any playmaking unless it's in this bot lane.
Jizuke with the blast cone over the wall into a spot he might not want to be. But with a backup from Ignar, they're ready to go. Ooh. Nice kick from NXI to disengage and get rid of Impact. EG still wants to collapse here. Ignar marching forward. They're going after Triple, who tries to revert to his distortion, but Jizuke is ready and waiting. Triple's running away, but he's running towards Evil Genius's lines, and Impact picks up the kill.
Yeah, tried to do a little bit of fancy footwork there. Didn't have any wards to know if anyone was on top of his sigil when he returned back to it, and surprise, surprise, yeah, Jizuke was waiting for him.
And speaking of Jizuke, now he's saying, hey, Kumo, are you having fun up here? That's not allowed. Rise is going in, and Ornn is going home, but not the kind of way he wants to, man. A little bit more damage will get it done, and Jizuke's on a killing spree.
Oh, coming apart at the seams here a little bit for FlyQuest Academy, losing track of teleports, who can make plays where. Jizuke, after being in the bot lane, ends up TPing top, punishing Kumo, and still ends up fine lane assignments. Jizuke is down to just keep pushing this out and just stay up here a little bit longer. So EG starting to run away with this game.
So what do we want to see from FlyQuest then? Obviously, we know that Ornn is very far behind the curve of the game. He's got a Bramble Vest, a Cinder, a couple like tier 1 garbage items, and a cookie. There's no way this champion has the presence they need him to have, so what's the call, Mark?
This is the difficult part for FlyQuest comp because you actually don't play that differently from EG's comp. Like, both people have strong side laners in champion kit. Well, Triple is probably weaker than Jizuke and Impact right now. He's not that happy in a side wave, which is where you probably want to send NXI and some of these assets to try and get him ahead. Your mid lane, we talked about the wave clear potential for EG. It's pretty easy for them to just kind of go, all right, well, we're going to step out of here.
And you can see Tomo just doing a ton of damage to both Evil Genius's bottom lane players here, chunking them both down to about a quarter HP and just owning this mid lane.
I'm interested to see if Tomo can actually make a splash this game as we watch this here by Jizuke, finding an easy kill onto Kumo. Kumo actually ended up headbutting his thing. I didn't know if he was trying to clear the minion wave or if he just
I don't know.
Didn't see it because he put himself right under turret there. There's the question mark ping about what is this guy doing?
Yeah, that was Impact signaling enemies are missing. So Impact's watching.
He was watching that from
he's watching his ally solo his lane opponent, just going, what the hell is going on up here?
Oh, you hate to see it when the person not even on your screen is the one question mark.
Yeah, you're just like, there's something not right about this. We got our dragon spawning in about 60 seconds, though, so very soon on that one. FlyQuest does have bodies up here in the Rift Herald pit. That is secured, swept out, everything's cool. Evil Geniuses waiting around in the side brush in mid lane, but Triple's jumping out and they're ready to go. Nice CC comes out from Diamond and Ignar is the target. He wants to get away. He tries to channel the heroic exit, but it will not work. Danny has to flash over the wall to survive. Triple follows up for a little bit more damage, but then has to reset his position when Svenskeren is there. Still 1-0 for FlyQuest. That's what they need to do.
Not bad considering that they didn't have anything that they're immediately losing in side lanes. You have the LeBlanc TPing back to try and get down the bot lane, collect that farm, and you have Kumo collapsing on the top side. So well done there by FlyQuest, finding a pickoff in transition. And this is something the team has actually done well. I cast a couple other games in Academy, and they are decent about finding pickoffs in unexpected spots. They're good about reading where people want to go. You know, they're trying to get some vision around mid, trying to move out. Well, great. Jump on the support and blow them up with all those extra men that you can have there because you don't care about Dragon. You're not going to fight them for this Ocean Drake. So use that time to find a pickoff in a less obvious position.
I mean, even yesterday, in the game that we saw where TSM looked like they were going to crush them, it was a team fight that turned things around in top lane, and then just finding isolated opponents, finding Spica in that bottom side river that then led to TSM just marching the conga line down towards them, and they cleaned everybody up. So FlyQuest always having that ability, always having that opportunity to make something happen. Svenskeren, however, will take the first Ocean Drake of the game. 2-1 Drake score now for EG.
Yeah, all things considered, that pickoff, you know, nice play, tip the cap, FlyQuest, good job. EG, you're still feeling pretty good. You still have a gold lead. You're still going to be able to go and stop these kind of pushes when they're not trading the objectives out. So Jizuke here, he's a little bit afraid to walk up, but soon, once EG gets control of this topside river with Impact, they'll be a lot safer about controlling these side waves. They're following the steps correctly here for EG. A lot of people talk about them just being like this aggro, brain off, dive your ass 24/7 team. They do have brains. They do follow the steps when they need to.
Well, here in the mid lane, the step is one more auto attack. Danny gets that one, so that turret will go down. All three outer turrets now removed from FlyQuest's inventory as Evil Geniuses have lost two of their own. FlyQuest trying to keep that count as close as possible to keep this gold at a fightable distance. You don't want to allow Evil Geniuses to continue building these things up. Despite the fact that Kumo is still 40 CS down, it feels like that's stabilized as how far down he's going to be.
Yeah, and if he can keep collecting experience, you could argue is just as important for an Ornn getting to those upgrades. You know, he's at level 11. He's beginning to get close. Well, I don't think that's true, given the fact that they're now showing text on screen saying the same word. So I think I'm in the clear, but maybe I should do a little less.
Hey, I'll have you know that people loved my call that I said during that MSI finals.
Yeah,
I'm not going to repeat it on here because I probably will get in trouble, but hey, there's a time and place, and you just got to find the right one, buddy.
Yeah, you know, it's my first cast. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just winging it.
All right, let's see if FlyQuest can wing it here in the mid lane. What do you got cooking? I want to see some sort of playmaking here from these guys. 3.5 minutes until the next dragon's going to spawn. 20 seconds until Baron is alive. Diamond rotating through the enemy jungle here, sitting down some vision, just sweeping through, making sure that they have any and all information possible.
Yeah, and this is actually, I feel like sometimes in the game between 15 and 20 minutes, if the second Rift Herald is going to go uncontested and some of these other dragons are going to come uncontested, it can actually be hard to find ways to explode the gold lead if the enemy team is totally fine just avoiding you. You know, FlyQuest is like, I'm not fighting you at Dragon, I'm going to go top. And you go to Rift Herald, I'm going to go somewhere else. And for EG, it becomes a little bit difficult during that window to force the fight. Yep. Once Baron spawns, though, that is not really an ignorable objective. And so FlyQuest, if they lose vision control, they're going to have to check it because there's pretty good Baron damage on the side of FlyQuest, or excuse me, EG with the Kaisa, with the Rise, and these kind of machine gun spells. Even Diana is pretty respectable at Baron damage.
And honestly, we're at an important point now for Evil Geniuses because their gold lead has enabled a lot of their champions to hit their second item power spikes now. Steric's Gauge is up and running for the Renekton, makes him much more tanky. Seraph's Embrace fully completed for the Rise, and Wit's End for Kaisa, which, although not the most standard item, does do a lot in terms of defense against AP threats. So looking to survive some of the burst from Triple, as well as make it so all of that just passive damage that'll happen by being near Ornn in a team fight is going to hurt a little bit less.
I actually like that build too, given the fact that it's not that physical damage heavy of a team comp for FlyQuest side. I mean, Ornn is going to be mostly magic damage, LeBlanc obviously magic damage, Leona is going to be magic damage, and then even Tristana with her Buster Shot and E and stuff, like you still end up taking some with W even, as Diamond getting a little close to the enemy there.
He's Leona, he's fine.
He's fine, pops that W, walks out of there. But yeah, there is a lot of magic damage on FlyQuest side. There are pretty magic damage heavy, and so I do like the call to go the Wit's End second here by Danny. Nice adaptation to the game.
Hell yeah. Cookie cutters are for Christmas with Grandma. Make sure you are actively thinking about your builds, as Jizuke is getting collapsed on here in the bottom lane. Kumo might not have the damage to kill him, but that was never the plan anyway. Shut down over for triple.
Yeah, Jizuke holding his flash there, knowing he was cut off. Even if you flash the second Ornn ult, like,
yeah, you're dead.
You're dead. You don't have a way out. So just drops there. And nice mechanics by Kumo. You know, Ornn's one of these tanks. You know, everyone memes them for having nothing to do. Hold on.
Okay. The bomb gets strapped to Danny, but he can walk away in time. FlyQuest looking to grab some damage under this tier 1 turret. Backup's able to arrive. Oh, but Ignar forced to use his stopwatch here as FlyQuest was ready on the punish.
Not too bad, actually, by Ignar. You know, you lose your stopwatch, they lose Ignite ultimate, so it kind of stops any dive threat once Leona's ultimate's down. So you're happy to trade that in a pressure perspective, because right now, your mid laner's dead. You don't want to lose your mid turret there. And so kind of being like, hey guys, look at me, I'm out of position. You know, they get baited into blowing their cooldowns, and then the threat dissolves around the mid lane.
Hey fellas, what's going on over here?
What am I doing? I'm trolling.
Oh man, I wish I wasn't this bad.
Yeah, oops, I have stopwatch. Get away.
All right, Dragon, 15 seconds for FlyQuest. If they give this one away, that puts Evil Geniuses on Ocean Soul Point. That's very scary. That means you're now going to have to fight everyone after that, so I'm expecting them to put up a fight here for this one. Evil Geniuses, 4 men here in mid. You've got Impact on the flank. FlyQuest walking out of this one. Kumo jumps back in, looking for a knock-up on a Jizuke, but he will not find it. Triple's in a lot of trouble. And with Danny killing off the FlyQuest mid laner, you have to think the fight's already over.
Yep, gonna have to sack that one. Nicely done there by Impact, finding a flash W onto Triple. And like we talked about, the collapse by Danny on Kai'Sa, so easy to follow up on that. You know, we're watching the mid lane, looking at Kumo get chunked out. Hold on here, they're not ready to give this Dragon up for nothing.
They are not done yet, my friends. Impact will be the one who is targeted. Steric's Gage keeps him alive. He's able to survive for now. Ignar doing everything he can to play support, to play the peel, and he gets it done. FlyQuest fall to pieces. A double kill for Jizuke, and Kumo and NXI will hobble away as Evil Geniuses march to the Baron.
It's a disaster for FlyQuest. They think they can pick a 4v5, but all the summoners and cooldowns are up for EG, so they can't actually finish off the Renekton. He gives the rest of them time to collapse, save him, get a number of kills, keep everyone alive, and not only get the Dragon now, get the Baron at the back of it.
Man, oh man, oh man, that Renekton so deceptively tanky with a Gore Drinker and a Steric's Gage. The Red Bull Baron goes over to EG, and with a 5,000 gold lead and Ocean Soul Point, they're feeling good.
Yeah, it just gets so greedy wanting the chain proc and so explosive by Evil Geniuses. As soon as he's a step too far forward, the entire team is on the same page about finishing him off. Now, Impact's ult drops down. They know they're on the Dragon. They think they have a window here to punish Impact without his ultimate up. But like you said, the Steric's Gage, the Q, the Gore Drinker, able to stay alive long enough for EG to collapse. There's just not quite enough damage. They also had all the exhausts up, all the flashes up, so they're able to punish FlyQuest for that attempt. Not the worst idea out of FlyQuest to find this moment, but given the Ornn items and the fact it was only the 3rd Dragon, I feel like you should just take the triple loss on the chin, go move around the map, get some wards out instead of taking that.
Well, now they have to deal with this Baron for the next 2 minutes, and you can see Evil Geniuses are wasting no time. They've already taken out the tier 2 in the mid lane, just now taking out the tier 2 here in the top lane, extending the turret lead 5-2 now. They could go down towards bottom and start sieging that up. You can see Jizuke starting to march down that lane. The wave is in a bad spot, so that's going to have to be fixed first. But Evil Geniuses have full control over Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, they got a couple turrets in the inner ring out. Now they're going to go reset, grab some items if they need them, get the minion wave synced up while they wait for Rise. Also have the blue buff up they can grab away, but plenty of time still on this Baron buff. A minute and a half to take out the last inner turret. I think for FlyQuest, you're trying to stem the bleeding a little bit right now, keep it so the inhibitor turrets are up. For EG, you want to make this a more explosive Baron. You want to catch this group out.
Bleed.
Yeah,
that's the whole point.
You see anyone not near their turrets, you're going to want to flash on top of them.
FlyQuest are ready. They place a ward over the wall. Diamond's going in, looking for the CC onto Sven-Scarin, but now he's going to be the one to die. Acathian Rain over the wall, and Impact finishes the job. Now they're going to get a counter kill with Ignar dead. Woo! Oh, but Tomo dropping over. Kumo falls down next, and Triple is on the run. LeBlanc tries to get away, but it won't do a damn thing. 4 for 1 for the Evil Geniuses.
2 fights in a row now. Sven-Scarin has had great counter engages, finding the back line, pulling them in, making sure Tomo's going to drop there, and Danny being the cleanup carry right now, popping off, finding all these.
Woo! 3,966 damage in the last fight. Damn.
Yeah, that was a explosive team fight there. They bait Diamond in over the wall. Impact is able to go back over. And now, like we were talking about, they're able to break the base open. And this feels now like the back-breaking moment. You didn't just lose the Baron buff. You didn't just lose a massive gold disparity. Now you're losing your base and total map control.
Not just one lane of inhibitors, but two. Two lanes with constant super minion pressure is going to be so difficult for FlyQuest to deal with. And it's made even worse when you look at that timer in the top left of your screen. 80 seconds until the Dragon Soul. Let's take another look at how Diamond thought he was going in a good spot.
Yeah, initially engaged onto Svenskeren, but just not any way for the rest of his team to really contribute from that position. And Svenskeren then finds the re-engage for those members of FlyQuest who are trying to follow up on the initial Diamond part. So just a bit of in and out, you know, not really being able to follow up correctly. And now with that, EG, like you talked about, the two soul lanes pushing in, those are the two perfect lanes that you want for controlling this last dragon. So 50 seconds until it comes up. EG is going to take this slow and steady, most likely get total vision control on the bot side, start sweeping this stuff out, and just make sure that they don't accidentally face check one of these members of FlyQuest.
Right, that's the whole thing. Don't give them a win condition because you have such a commanding lead already. Evil Geniuses staying grouped up as 5, not giving FlyQuest the chance to pick anybody off while they're isolated, allowing these super minions to be escorted further forwards. They want to make sure that those super minions are hitting the base as they're going to the dragon, make their opponents have multiple things they need to address at the same time.
Yeah, doing such a good job sweeping all these wards out, going to clear up both these pink wards here and potentially collapse on the Diamond.
And the Realm Warp's coming around from the side, so the Jizuke guarantees there would be no way out, and Diamond is stuck. Danny unstoppable, picking up the kill on that one. With a TP going into the base now, Evil Geniuses are not done. Impact will again be on the front line, but FlyQuest have already learned their lesson. They know they can't try to focus him down.
Who needs Dragon
Evil
Soul?
Geniuses don't care about the Dragon Soul. They're going for the end of the game. They get the Ornhorn, only finding a knock-up onto Svenskeren. Triple's already dead. Jizuke's already on a rampage, and Impact is already going in. He'll be tanking up the turret shots, but there's not enough damage in the tank. FlyQuest cannot contest, and Evil Geniuses will finally bring their win streak to an end. It was impressive to see. They went 4-0, but it stops here as Evil Geniuses will take them down in 29 minutes.
They want the KDAs too, Captain Flowers. They're looking for extra kills.
Oh, they're adding insult to injury. Danny's in the stopwatch. Jizuke's in a stopwatch. Svenskaren's in a stopwatch. Stop the damn game. EG's got the win.
They bounce back after a disappointing loss yesterday. EG claim another victory. They're going to try and start a new win streak because despite that loss, I think it's still safe to say that they're the hottest team in the LCS right now. They look so